there and welcome back to Japan and to our reaction and review of Time Warp, the latest song by Perfume at time of recording. As always, this is the review video. If you want to see the reaction that I've just done, pause this video, click on the link in the description below, which will open a separate little player so you can watch the song along with me, should you wish to see my reaction or if you just haven't heard the song before. So, ready? Heard the song? Seen the reaction? Are you just unpausing this video now? Either way, here comes the review. Don't say I didn't warn you. Okay, so this is an interesting one. Just to give a bit of backstory, as I briefly mentioned during reaction, Perfume are a group who I had heard of so much before I'd really given them first listen. I think I'd also actually heard them as well, kind of just by proxy of being in Japan. Just, sort of on the radio when you go into like restaurants or cafes or shops and stuff like that. So it's a group that I wasn't completely unaware of, but I certainly got to grips with what their sound was and their common producer with Kerry Pami when I first started listening to them through this channel, or the channel that was previously here before this and got closed down about, coming on for 2 years ago now. And it was a group who really took me initially. I really liked them. I was rooting for them from the beginning because I think the pop as a general is full of so many young groups that it's nice to kind of see a genre that usually doesn't favour people who've been doing it for years favouring them. And Perfume have been doing really well. If anything, their success has been growing of recent. So I had been really rooting for them, and a lot of what they delivered I really liked. Now, one of the reasons why it's going to be an interesting review of this one is because, as I said, recently their music had gone from being really great to being a little bit more hit and miss with me. Partly because I felt that when they tried to explore new territory, a lot of the time they were going into slightly pandering to a lot of Western music culture. I'd say a little bit with some of those reductionist instrumental hooks where it just kind of was like build up, build up, build up, break to the beat, and it's really unrewarding. And then the other times they felt like they were retreading familiar ground a little bit too much. So it was almost like they were damned if they did, damned if they didn't. They had a good core sound that they kind of mined a little bit too far and were struggling to do different things. There were some nice examples of them doing different things, like the Edge Triangle remix, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. That was a nice example of them breaking in a different direction, but there was a lot of ones where it didn't work so much for me. So moving into this, when it first kicks in, when you first hear the beginning of Time Warp, when you see that colourful video, you immediately know we're going into sort of familiar territory again. However, this did add some extra elements that we're not used to hearing in the other songs, and I must say that the producer, he has Nakata Yasutaka, always forget his name. He has a fantastic ability to really play with so many sounds. It often sounds from a similar palette, but he's got a very wide palette of sounds he uses, and he really does get a lot of interesting sounds out of what he does. However, here it was nice to hear the sort of extra use of the guitar was quite interesting. It thickened out the sound in a lot of points. Cough. No mask. Believe me, I'm on my own. It helped thicken out the sound. There was kind of a low end guitar at some points, and just, it worked in just thickening out points of the sound, like I say. And I don't know whether it was a synth guitar. It was used lightly and subtly enough that you couldn't tell if it was programmed in or if it was actually played, but it was a really nice touch, and it was quite noticeable as being something which is different from his usual, like I say, palette of sounds. There was also a very subtle little bit which was like a backing sort of vocal ooh, ah thing going on in there, which was quite nicely done. Just a little bit before the pre-chorus, there were little touches of sound in here which made it interesting. Ultimately, though, as I often say about Perfume songs, it did kind of fall into a territory where it was familiar. It wasn't in any way shaking up what we really used to. I think it did show a little bit more creativity and direction than some of the ones we've heard recently. And also, I did like the vocal melody. I thought the melody was interesting as well. When you're using a familiar palette of sounds, you really want to work a lot on getting interesting writing. Sorry, I can see I'm going out of focus. I really need to switch back onto manual focus, which I haven't been doing for the last few videos recently. This camera doesn't do well on the autofocus. Getting back to the point, when you're using a similar familiar sound for the production, it's often a good idea to make the writing as interesting possible. And so the breakdown in the pre-chorus was really nice. It was significant enough that it made it really interesting. I just kind of really liked the fact that there was a feeling there was a little bit of effort to make this something a little bit more different. It did come around to what appeared to be, just as the video finished, we had a pre-chorus, what felt like a pre-chorus, building into what you would feel is the chorus, but then it went back to, I guess you could say, the refrain. So it's hard to know whether that breakdown bit is the chorus and whether at the end that will be the bit which is bumped up for the crescendo, or whether that refrain is supposed to be the chorus and basically therefore getting an instrumental hook. So in a way, this does leave me wanting to hear more. I think we've very much got the idea for what the palette, for what the sound, for what the style of this song is going to be, but I'm looking forward to hearing a full version to get a full idea for it. Anyway, as always, guys, feel free to get in the comments, tell me what you thought about this, and also if you've heard the full song, then let me know a little bit more about that. I think if we get enough comments on this, I'll try and find it maybe on Spotify or something. Not so many CD shops in the prefecture I'm in, unfortunately. Lots of bears, no CD shops. So anyway, I'd be very much looking forward to hearing what you guys think, whether you're fans or not, and just as general, did you think this felt like more of the same, if you're a fan or not, or did you see sort of a little bit of a difference, a little bit of a spark in some of the production? Did you hear that guitar usage and think that gave it an interesting bite? I'm really interested to see what you guys think. Also, I like the idea that the video started very much out and then zoomed in. I thought they were just going to stick a little bit too much on the gimmick of just having a single frame video, but sort of zooming in and moving around gave it a little bit of a taste. I felt it was going in a similar direction, but obviously much less ambitious, but a similar direction to the Letters video by Bish, but nicely used, nice used in a simple sort of soundstage looking context. Anyway, like I say, let me know of your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to like and subscribe if you're just enjoying this little conversational thing that we do here. I'll try to get back as many of the comments as I can. Certainly I do read them all and look for anything which is particularly interesting, just in case I can sort of mention it in future videos. And as always, if you want to get more involved in the discussion, feel free to follow any of the social medias linked in the description below, where you found the reaction link, hopefully. And also a big thank you to our patrons for keeping the channel running. Big thank you for you to making it to the end of this video, and hopefully I'll see you soon in Japan for the next one of these. But until then, for now, ciao ciao.